Hi, everybody. It's Mr. McMaken. I just had a nice Google Hangout with a lot of y'all, or many of you, but not even half of you. That's okay. It was not mandatory. But I just wanted to put up a little video that kind of explains what we talked about today so that you guys are prepared for Wednesday when I'll expect to see all of you if I can. There'll be opportunities for you to practice writing too. So here's a couple things I just want to talk to you guys about just to make sure you know what we're doing on this essay, because the essay is very clear in terms of what you're going to be measured about. It's just a question of which pieces you're going to be asked to write about or which choices you'll have. So let's just look at what I put in Google Classroom today. I'll put more in today, but this is just not an assignment right now, but this is just what I put in, which is the AP Art History exam past questions. And then over here is the Google Doc that I had put in there before to explain which questions we're doing, okay? Just a reminder, okay, you're getting 2 questions. And as far as we know, according to what they're telling us, you're getting a 25-minute question, and then you're getting a 15-minute question. And those 2 questions are, in previous years, were called question 1, okay? The comparison question, and then question 6, which is the continuity and change question. Okay, not going to go back into all that. That's there for you to look at. But then in terms of looking at past questions, this is where you go. Okay, you go to the AP Art History exam past questions, which again are right here. You just click on this, and again, you get here. Okay, and I want you to look at them. Okay, and I want you to be able to identify how many task points there are on each one. If you already were at the Google Hangout, you won't need to look at this, okay? But if I click on free response questions and I look at question 1, right, then that's what we're doing. And so you should be able to name the task points. Like as I go through this, you should say task point 1, task point 2, task point 3, and know how you're being measured. Then you'll be sure to do it. Don't just start writing. Know exactly what your task points are and that you're getting those points. All right. So this one was about the Augusta Suprema Porta, and it's talking about ideals of political power and authority. So it first says, select and identify another work depicting a ruler in which iconography communicates ideals of political power and authority. You may select a work from the list below or any other relevant work. That would be 1 task point, okay? That would be. I don't know if they're going to do that one or not, to be honest, because that's identifying, and that's something you could Google. So, but for our purposes, that's task point 1. Then it says, describe the iconography of both the statue of Augusta Suprema Porta and your selected work. That should be, let's see, how many task points would that be? How many things on a rubric would you be able to check off? That's right. So you have task point 2 would be, what's the iconography of the statue of Augusta Suprema Porta? Task point 3 would be, what's the iconography of your selected work? Correct. So that's 3 points so far. Then, using specific visual evidence from both works, explain at least 2 similarities in how the 2 works communicate ideals of political power and authority. Okay? 2 similarities. That's 2 more task points. So we've got task point 1, then task point 2 and 3, then task point 4 and 5. 5. Okay? Then explain at least 1 difference in how the 2 works communicate ideals of political power and authority within their respective cultures, using specific visual or contextual evidence about both the statue of Augustus and of Prima Porta and your selected work in your explanation. Okay, so this one is saying 1 difference in how they communicate ideals of political power and authority within their respective cultures. So if we're at 5 before, we're now looking at 1 difference. But in order to talk about those 1 differences, so that 1 difference, you have to talk about both pieces. So the question is, will this be 7 points? Will it be 8 points? Let's just see how they say we do it. So I'm going to go over to scoring guidelines, okay? And when I click on scoring guidelines, and then they'll have sample responses if you still don't understand what they're talking about, which is natural not to, okay? Scoring guidelines, let's see what they say. Okay, all right, big reveal. First, select and identify 1 point, easy. Accurately describes iconography of 1, accurately describes the iconography of 2, uses visual evidence from both to explain a similarity, okay? And then uses visual evidence from both to explain another similarity. So we were right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far. Then, okay, then it says actually explains 1 difference in the two works and how the two works communicate ideals of political power and authority within their respective cultures. And then it also says accurately uses specific visual or contextual evidence from both in one difference, and accurately uses specific and or contextual evidence from the selected work for one difference. So check it out, you guys. That last part looks like one task point, but it's three task points. And that's where a lot of people's essays will fall apart if they don't practice this, okay? You're talking about a difference between the two pieces, but you got to make sure that you do it about specific visual or contextual evidence, like specific things that are only true about that piece of art. And then do it for both and make sure that both of those differences are specific and they really are different from each other. And if they're a contextual one, make sure that you've described the respective culture that it's in sufficiently to also show that that culture is different from other cultures. You can't be vague. You can't say this piece of art is different from the other piece of art because it's from Africa, okay? Or because it's from the Renaissance. You have to say, what about the Renaissance made this work different in terms of how they displayed power and authority from this other piece, okay? So that's hard, but that's how you do your test points. So when you're looking at your FRQs in the future, just know you're going to probably have 8 points, okay, that you have to hit on, and make sure you hit them all. It's like almost like short answer questions in a way. If you think about it, just make sure you weave it all together, okay? All right, going back to the main, just a minute, Emerson. Going back to the main board here, let's look at question number 6, okay? Because remember, in my Google Doc here, I pointed out that question 1 is 25 minutes long, and then question 2 is 15 minutes long. It's the one you'll have a little break, 5 minutes, and then you'll just jump on this next one, continuity and change, okay? So we're gonna look at one. All right, going back to this. Right, okay. I have a lot of browser windows open now. So for your response, question 6, again, going to be shorter. All the way down to it, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Some of you did this one already, okay? But the work shown is the Great Mosque of Djenné, which is found in Mali, all right? In 1200, the structure demonstrates characteristics of mosque architecture specific to its location. So far, no task points available. Describe at least 2 materials or techniques used in the construction of the Great Mosque of Djenné. Pretty obvious. That's going to be 2 different things. If you put that in one sentence, you're really taking a risk, okay? You want to talk about the first material or technique and make sure you've done a sentence or 2 about it, and then move on to your next material or technique. A lot of graders, even if you do it well, a lot of graders will pass right over it and only see one thing that you wrote. Next, using specific evidence, explain how architectural features of Great Mosque of Djenné demonstrate continuity with global conventions of mosque architecture. Okay, so if that was points, is that going to be a 1-point thing or a 2-point thing? We'll see. But it says explain how the architectural features of this mosque are in continuity with conventions of mosque architecture. Okay, I like the idea of writing a little bit more than you think you need to here, if you have time, because you guys know multiple architectural features of mosques. So bring those in here about how this is like a normal mosque, okay? Then using specific evidence, explain both how and why the architectural features of this mosque demonstrate changes from global conventions of mosque architecture. So you're talking about both how and why the architectural features of this mosque demonstrate changes from global conventions. So how are they different from normal? How is it different from a normal mosque? And why is it different? Okay, so going back to the scoring guidelines for this one, okay, you click on there. You go all the way down to the bottom, because that'd be question 6, okay? And I'm mentioning all this because you're going to have something to write about on Wednesday. It would be really nice to be prepared and to look over some of these things. Who knows, okay? So down here, question 6. Describes a material technique. Boom, 1 point. Describes another material technique. 2 points. Has specific evidence to explain one architectural feature of the Great Mosque. Ooh, 2 different points here. They didn't tell us to do 2 things, but they wanted us to. So I was right and you were right. to go ahead and tell them 2 things, just so they know that you do understand that what mosque architecture is like and how this demonstrates continuity with it. So that's 4 points so far. Then, evidence to explain changes from global conventions of mosque architecture. So one thing that's different, the how and the why part here, one thing that's different about the mosque of Djenné as opposed to other ones, that's 1 point. So it's 5 points here. So look at this. Your whole career in art history so far comes down to 13 points. Okay, just kidding. But this is a blip on the screen of your life, and you've done so well. For me, the accomplishment is just all the time that we spent together. And your notebook is fun to have, but all those things that you've thought about because of this course will never leave you. But boy, wouldn't it be nice to get a nice, grade for this, and then be able to take a higher level of humanities when you get to college. Okay, so just take this with a grain of salt. But I want you guys to try to look over some of these so that your essays are more, they fit to they fit the question, and they give you the credit that you deserve. Okay? Talk to y'all later.